Say, man, for those select few that are already initiated, you should already know what's coming next. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we're gonna get to the other stuff in a minute. But what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So, we ain't got much else left to do, but just vibe. See, I ain't the man of your dreams, but I am the coolest guy in the whole cosmos. Yeah. And see, we're gonna go to the other side of the moon. As Pink Floyd would say, the dark side of the moon. Today. I'm gonna be your guide. And at some point, before we take off, you will realize that you're ready to open up your ear and let me crawl into your mind. One time. I ain't a handsome devil, but I'm devilishly handsome. Hey. Escape. Especially when you realize that you're only running from yourself. It's then that change manifests. See, that's what I'm about. Let that sizzle in your spirit. In the words of the mighty country Wayne. It's also about that time. If you don't see me, if you do mess around, put some flame to it. And if you don't, I respect it. Just don't judge me. And also understand that this is not an escape. Not this. This is antenna. Your stress while raising your vibration. I don't want you to see me. I don't want you to hear me. I want you to feel me. Okay. What it was, y'all. Y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge of Self. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight, man. And I hope everybody feeling good. I hope everybody mellowed out, because it's time to get spiritual, talk about some serious stuff. Because this right here, This a little something about those people that have the moon in the 12th house of their natal chart. Yeah. And before we actually go there, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about the moon. I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about the energy that comes along with the moon in the houses and how it might affect you. Then I'm going to give a quick breakdown about the 12th house of the astrological chart. And then after that, we're going to bring it to a climax, which is actually what I do best. It's also my favorite. Mi favorito. So, without wasting any more time, it ain't nothing to it but to do it. Okay. So the moon. The moon is the closest celestial body in relation to Earth in the whole entire solar system. And, for that reason, I feel like it has the strongest effect on our moods and personality on a day-to-day basis. The moon controls the Earth's waters and the Earth's tides, and the Earth is 65 to 70% water. Well, guess what, player? You 65 to 70% water too. So just think about the effect that it might have on you. Okay? Think about it. So, the moon, this is our instinctive awareness. This is our emotional nature. This is how we feel. It can represent the relationship that we have with our mother, or the lack thereof. Or, it can represent the mind in Vedic astrology. But I really just think it's all about who we are inside and who we are internally. And when we're talking about the moon in the houses, man, this can reveal where and how we go about seeking emotional security and satisfaction. And really looking at the house placement of the moon, we can also find important clues to any reasons for any perpetual emotional unrest that we might have, which could really take the forms of any constant changes or ups and downs that we might be going through in the area of life, which ruled by whatever house that she's in. Okay. And it's in those areas that we should also really seek to make deep attachments and, try to do that rather than have these superficial and temporary emotional thrills if we're ever really seeking true feeling of belonging and emotional fulfillment. And really, that's what the moon is really going to always be all about, man. Pardon me, y'all. Let me fix this. The window was bust open. Anyway, so the 12th house. The 12th house, this is the murky realm of Pisces, and, it's ruled by the planets of Neptune and also Jupiter. And, it's here that what refers to the unconscious, the hidden, the fantasy, the past life, as well as all the things that are beyond this physical plane of existence. You understand? And it can be associated with any periods of confinement. And some say it's here that whatever's planets or whatever's linked to the 12th house can show was linked to our self-undoing. You understand? And I also call it the house of karma. And planets on this house they pretty much indicate functions that are hidden from your conscious personality or are expressed in terms of psychic faculty or through self-sacrifice. Okay? And so, when we're putting the moon here in the 12th house, well, I would say this first, okay? If I didn't get a chance to convey it just a second ago, man, I want y'all to know that for me, personally, the 12th is actually the most special house in the whole chart, man. And it is a pretty tough nut to crack for the simple fact that it exists on a whole different plane. It really does. So when I'm looking at the chart of somebody who has the moon placed here, I'm looking at somebody who tends to be really overly sensitive, but at the same time, their emotions aren't really accessible to them either. So it's hard too, man. So they really have this rough time developing a truly loving relationship with themselves more than anything else, which kind of sucks. Or not even no kind about it. It sucks, in my opinion. And on another note, though, the moon here, it represents our intuition in astrology. So when it's placed in the 12th, it makes these people the absolute most intuitive that there are, period. And, sometimes to the extent of it, being uncanny. These right here are the ones that can be mediums. You know what I'm saying? These are there's all kinds of people that are empathic. There's all people that have intuition. There are all type of people that have certain clairvoyance, clairsentience, and things like that. But hey, this is somebody that could have it all. This is somebody that could be tuned in completely to the fullest, man. And that's real, man. And, like I said, man, this is an excellent placement for somebody that's going to be interested in things like mediumship. So that's definitely something to think about if you have this placement. And as a Pisces moon myself, which is similar to this, but not the same, because people always ask me about, is a Pisces moon and having a moon in the 12th house the same? No, it's not. It has similar implications, but it's not the same at all. There are vast differences. Okay. There really are. And like I was saying, man, like, these are some of those people that, even if that ain't the case, I've really noticed that most of them just have these extremely vivid and powerful dreams that sometimes their higher self often chooses to try to communicate with them through. So for those that do have this placement, man, look here. Something that's going to be really essential to you and your growth, man, is to probably look into keeping a dream journal, man. For real, man. Keep a dream journal, because that could probably open up all kinds of doors for you on this plane and the next. You feel me? And looking even deeper into it, if with this one, this is often, in the chart of people whose mother might have been missing from their lives in some cases. And it's going to be that maybe she was literally absent in every way from their lives. But in others, she might have been there physically, but pretty much emotionally unavailable. But either way, as a kid, they felt that they didn't really get, the stuff they needed, and they couldn't count on their parents. And really, now that I think about it, I find that it's very interesting, because I don't have a 12th house moon, but as I was saying a second ago, I do have a Pisces moon. And, my mom died when I was 13. Understand that? And my dad was either in prison, on crack, or just messing off my whole life. Excuse my language. And until I was damn near 30, when he decided, because of his own health and his own selfish reasons, that he couldn't do drugs anymore, that he just couldn't do that anymore. And hey, I love him, and I'm glad he changed. I love my dad. Hi, Dad. I love you. But at the same time, I'm built solid because I knew who I could count on. And at the end of the day, the person I could count on lived in my freaking mirror. Okay? And, anywho, let me chill. This one suggests that these people probably had to learn to take care of themselves fairly freaking early in life, regardless. Because as kids, they were stuck as probably caretakers who really never, adequately responded to their emotional needs. And this was really sometimes such a very painful experience that they learned to bottle that stuff up and, decided it's just best not to share their emotions with anybody at all, which really eventually manifests in this person who's now often unaware of their own emotions altogether a lot of the time, or the polar opposite. Somebody who's just so wildly sensitive and emotional that they easily become overwhelmed with the intensity of it all, which is rough, and they just want to escape and get away. And we all know what that leads to, especially when we're talking about 12th house energy, Neptune energy, a bunch of extra bullcrap, And in most cases, they tend to repress their emotions either way. And that's something for me that I know is quite unhealthy, of course. But, in the least, if it's not that, it's going to lead to frustration. But in the worst, that fear of vulnerability that they have it could lead to isolation and deep depression. And those two things lead to even worse things that I'm not going to care to speak of. Okay. And, people with this placement, they're really often ashamed of their needs, which leads them to run into non-functional coping mechanisms. Okay. And, that makes them have this life that they're living without ever developing a sense of assertion emotionally. So a lot of them can resort to, having these tendencies to do a lot of passive aggressive behaviors if they feel some type of way. And, it's not cool in those aspects, but they will eventually emotionally mature, but it's going to take a lot. You're going to have to peel a lot of layers off that onion before you get to the good meat. And that's real. And with these folks, emotional immaturity and childish behavior can really be real issues. And that's just being real. And if they could just really find a way to work through their stuff, plus, they really just need to remember that, when you expect to be victimized, 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up a victim. Okay? You want to be a martyr, somebody going to make you a martyr, fam. Real talk. And also what it really boils down to is that, these are the type of people that kind of intuitively grasp what others need, and then they do everything in their power, to be whatever that person needs them to be at that time, which is honorable, except that they also unconsciously kind of expect other people to reciprocate that same amount of devotion that they have. And then they get really, messed up and heartbroken about it when, those people don't, which, ain't fair to those people at all. Because somebody taught me this one time, man. I used to always be hooking them up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, hey. And when they got on and they were on, like, you know what I'm saying? I kind of expected them to hook me up. And I kind of got checked. I was informed that, hey, I never asked you for anything, okay, man? I'm appreciative for everything you do, but, I didn't ask you for anything, and so I'm not obligated to do the same thing. You did that because you wanted to do it, obviously, right? Well, I don't want to do it. And how could I be upset? You know what I'm saying? And then they kind of told me that, hey, you're the type of person that does favors for people because later on it's going to be a favor in return for you. Or you like to... she kind of told me, she kind of told me that you like to kind of do stuff off of your name. Like everybody knows you're a good dude and all that. So, you kind of expect people to just look out for you because you're a good dude, and that's not how it goes. And so that was something that really opened my eyes and had to make me wisen up and toughen up in my maturity. Thanks for that lesson. And look, man, to sum it up, man, a 12th house moon, it really indicates a very private person who's, probably really shy and sensitive. But a lot of them also kind of tend to shrink too much, man. They've got to stop allowing people, self-included, to make them feel small. Don't do that. And when the world gets tough, man, their tendency is to check out instead of just taking a break, They try to tend to escape this reality altogether, which, I shouldn't have to warn y'all about at all, man. Don't let that sensitivity be the excuse that you get caught up in some messed up predictions. Okay? Don't do that, because I've had that in my life where I've had to learn that very same lesson myself too. Okay? And solitude is necessary too. But don't use it as an excuse to hide or escape, or use it as a time instead to recharge and reconnect, okay? And lastly, people's sense of empathy is everything with this placement. Understand? They've always been drawn to the underdog, and people who are struggling, are drawn to them. And that's beautiful. But without those boundaries, it's easy to become a part of the problem or another victim of it, just as much as it is to help and to heal somebody. But either way, even if it don't play out like that, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that, okay? We all have all of this energy available to us. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And this makes some priceless knowledge of self, okay? I appreciate all the love and support. If y'all are interested in the astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below, or you can email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. Okay? Hey, man, y'all hit that like, share, and subscribe, man. You know I be doing my thing. Y'all keep it real, too, man.